What's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about the new horror movie that's in theaters and HBO Max now. That movie is Malignant, starring Annabelle Wallis and directed by James Wan. The story for this one goes like this. Paralyzed by fear from shocking visions, a woman's torment worsens as she discovers her waking dreams are actually terrifying realities. This movie is crazy. This movie is crazy. So something I'll say right off the bat that everyone interested in seeing this movie needs to understand is that it is very intentionally campy. To me, campy basically means very cheesy, over-exaggerated, overacted, and kind of lives and dies by the cliches of the genre. Without giving anything away, just as an example, the first scene here is a flashback to a very Stranger Things-esque 80s laboratory, which has basically become a cliche of the genre over recent years. And after the first 15 minutes, if you're not really in the right headspace for this, you might start to think that it's hot garbage and want to turn it off, but I really think you should stick around to see how this one unfolds. James Wan is known for other horror films such as The Conjuring, Dead Silence, and Insidious, so I trusted that he must have something up his sleeve to make this a satisfying payoff. I thought Annabelle Wallis did a nice job here. In classic horror movie fashion, she needs to cry and wail a lot of different times throughout the movie, and keeping in mind that it's supposed to be a little bit campy, I think she delivers a really solid performance here. I also really liked the actress that played her sister. I thought she was a very good horror movie explainer. And what I mean by that is when you have a horror movie where a main character is undergoing something demonic or psychological, it's good to have that character around that's going to say what the hell is happening to help keep the audience in the loop and see what questions they should be asking. And I just generally liked having her on screen. I thought she was a generally savvy horror sidekick and did a lot of things you'd expect real people to do. The other side characters are fine, nothing really to write home about. They just exist to help progress the plot and get it from A to B. The entity and villain in this movie is a big selling point of the film. I honestly think that it's memorable compared to the likes of Mama, The Babadook, and The Nun. I can't say much more without nearing on spoiler territory, but just know that I think this evil force is one of the better ones of recent horror films. Since this is a James Wan movie, you already know that it's filmed really well and in an interesting manner. He's always had a great eye. In particular, there's this awesome overhead shot sequence where it follows the main character as she runs around her house. And it's almost as if we're looking into a dollhouse with a bird's eye view, and it gave me a very Hereditary and Zodiac vibe. Not only the camera work, but there's really good sound design and use of music in this movie as well. There's an awesome and haunting 80s synth version of Where's My Mind, and that's played a couple different times in the movie, and it's constantly reminding you of the vibe that this movie is going for. And on the flip side, silence is used really well here too. The twist is ridiculous, but it's so extreme that you're just like, okay, they're really going for it here. And once that ridiculous twist has been revealed and established, all bets are off in the remaining minutes of this movie, and it's totally off the wall. And if you're really here for the journey and have been open-minded about the plot up to this point, I think you're gonna dig what comes next. Without giving anything away, I'll just say that there is a scene that takes place in a jail cell that is the definitive no turning back point for this movie. After that moment, the cat is out of the bag, and this movie is certifiably mental. It's almost a mini slasher version of the church scene in Kingsman. Now, obviously something's got to give here, so I'd say that the movie is decently formulaic. And like I mentioned earlier, it's very campy, so it hits all the usual horror movie beats. No one believes the main character and thinks she's crazy, or maybe that she's even responsible for the murders happening around her. The detective starts to slowly believe her after seeing something himself, but I don't think that really slows this movie down much because it's not really what this one is about, and it's so mind-bendingly wild. Also, there are some of your usual jump scares throughout the movie, but I didn't find this film particularly scary. But as a big horror fan, that didn't disappoint me too much, just because I was so intrigued to find out more about this mystery and who this villain really was. In my mind, Malignant might end up having some serious cult classic appeal later on down the road. It's not close to James Wan's best work, and his other releases like Insidious and The Conjuring are massive mainstream horror hits. But this one, due to a combination of a pandemic at-home and theater release, and it being just so goddamn weird and out there, might make this one a little bit more of a hidden cult flick years after its release, and turn the more mainstream and casual horror audience away from it. Malignant gets a Sully score of 7.6. I think it's a really solid horror movie. It seems like a lot of people are divided on this one, but love it or hate it, you can't say you've ever seen a horror movie quite like it. I'm always happy to see an original concept, especially in the horror genre that has been plagued by some of the laziest and most recycled entries of any movie genre. If you're a horror fan and admire some of James Wan's work, shut the shades, turn the lights off, and give this one a go. So that's my review of Malignant. Let me know if you're gonna go check this one out in the comments below. And if you ever want to discuss any of the movies after you've seen them, message me on my Instagram @SullyStreams. My DMs are always open. See you guys at the next video.